My best friend and I met in a gospel community group I had with some other brothers and sisters from my church, and he was invited by one of my friends. We became close almost instantly and hung out all the time. And the fact that he was already a Christian before coming to join us made us even closer. His biggest wish was to go to a missionary camp in Guatemala, and he managed to convince me, along with my church at the time, that I should join him. We were thrilled. We made the planning. He was going to go first, and after I graduated, I would meet him there. A year passed, and the time to pursue what I thought was my calling was approaching. I filled all out of the paperwork and waited for the reply, praying to God that His will be done, but preferably if He was going to be going to the camp. I applied to a camp in Chile as well as a backup, but it was never my plan to go there. The acceptance letter took longer than I expected, and I was starting to worry, but at the end it arrived, and happiness flooded me and those around me. I had a Skype interview with the pastor there to seal the deal, and he told me that I was in. I was so excited, and my best friend was too for me. This was a clear sign that everything was going according to God's will. I was getting ready to get my tickets and send the money for camp when suddenly I got a message from the pastor that said that they wouldn't be able to accept new students there since they were renovating the camp, and that I would be welcome to apply again, but only until the next year. I was shocked at first, and to be honest, sad and angry. I felt like I was watching the movie Schindler's List while chopping onions. But after I calmed down, I felt truly scared. I realized that I did not know the true meaning of fear until I saw all of my plans crumble before my eyes. All this time, I was convinced that this was God's will. Wasn't being out in the field spreading the gospel the only way to be faithful? Nevertheless, I did not give up in my master plan. I still had the option of going to the Chile camp, and even though my friend wouldn't be there, my plan to go to a missionary camp would still be intact. I contacted the camp and asked if it was too late to enter, and they said that it was still a good time to start my process there. I was happy once again, but then I started reading about the institution and their operations and engaging more with the people that ran the institution, and I did just not feel comfortable. Part of it was because my friend wasn't there, but mainly because I did not feel that God wanted me to do it anymore. I just could not ask myself if the Lord had gotten me all the way here for something that was not meant to be. I prayed for Him to show me what I was supposed to do with the rest of my life, and during that time, part of the answer arrived. We arrived to a new church after we had some problems in our old one, and it was there where I found the advice I needed. I talked with the pastors of the church, and they helped me see that perhaps going there was not the best idea. But the problem was that I did not have a university spot. I had applied and had been accepted in the economics programs at the university in my city. And even though I had been offered a scholarship, I had I had moved my entrance there since my plan had been to go to Guatemala since before graduation. I found out that the church that I went to also had a Bible seminary course that I could take for the time that I was without studying. I started to wonder, was staying at home for half a year and studying at church, serving the Lord the same thing? I did not think so, but strangely I felt peace about this, like I never felt before, not even about the trip to Guatemala. I decided to go for it, and my parents really liked the idea. My best friend was a bit angry at me for ditching him, and even gave me the cold shoulder for a while, even if it wasn't my fault. But he wasn't man for long. He finished 2 years in Guatemala and then returned to Colombia, where he's now studying in the same university that I used to attend, and we are still good friends to this day. As for myself, my life completely changed because of that decision, and things that I could never have imagined happened because of those 6 months I stayed happened. I used this time to help my dad with his business back in Colombia and gain experience for my future work life. In that 6 month period, I met a girl at the church that is now my wife. If I had gone to Guatemala, I would have probably never met her, or at least not as soon as I did. And maybe not directly, by my decision of leaving all behind and coming to boys' college would never have been possible if I did not join my local church, where I was encouraged to leave my comfort zone by my pastors and my wife, who left her university career to come join me here, who all said that it was an opportunity given by the Lord, and it was one that I could not miss. Even though all these wonderful things were happening in my life, I was still torn about wanting to serve the Lord. But was this right? I was given a huge blessing with the chance to study at home with a faithful group of brothers and sisters, but I was still thinking about what could have been. And to be honest, even though my main motivation to go to the field was to share the gospel of Jesus Christ, there were other little personal missions that also wanted to achieve. I wanted freedom, new experiences, and independence, which are all very selfish reasons to go on a mission trip. I think that if I had gone to the trip, my relationship with God would not be close to what it is today. Because even though my intentions were to do good, my heart wasn't totally in it. And I am sure that I would have ended up taking that time as a vacation with some missions on the side. Today, I know that I would have regretted this trip for the rest of my life because this is no way to glorify God, the God that gave us salvation from eternal damnation. He deserves for us to give all of our life to His Great Commission if that is our calling. The main takeaway from this story is that God has a perfect plan from each of our lives, believers and unbelievers, even if we can't see His goodness. This can be seen in the Bible in verses like Jeremiah 29:11, which says, "For I know that I have plans for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Even though sometimes what is happening in our lives might seem like it's hurting us and is not what we need, God knows what is the best since He is our creator and knows the bigger picture of our lives. It is common for us humans to focus our life goals into our desires or sometimes we give in to peer pressure from others, like our family or friends. In my personal case, this happened because when I wanted to go to Guatemala, I was pressured by my friend and other people to go. I did want to go, but they gave me an encouragement that perhaps wasn't necessary at the time. This can be harmful because, like director of Conduria, P.V. Ramasasang says, peer pressure impacts heavily on three fronts: career choice, higher education, and personal life. And if we fall into this, we can be influenced into something we don't want to do. For example, like we see in my story, I was influenced to go to the camp, even though it wasn't my main calling or my main desire. I was pressured as a way to see that it was my only way to serve the Lord, as my friends and some other church members told me. Another reason why this is not correct is because we must put God first and pray to Him in order to find out what the best thing for our lives is. It is also important to be able to cope with failure because even though we as Christians know that God has a perfect plan for us, failing to do something that we wanted to do can be really painful. But failure is something normal, and like Jason Stossman from Entrepreneur says, accept failure. Failure is awesome. Failing fast gets you that much closer to success. We have to know that every time we fall to do something is for a reason. We need to learn to move on and try to get on with our lives. I would like to close with a beautiful verse from the book of Esther, which says, "Perhaps we were born for such a time like this." We do not know what the Lord has in store for our future, but it's likely that He is setting up something in our future that will be great and will help us glorify Him even more.